She slammed her clipboard against my truck window and yelled, "You can't move in here without my approval." Her voice cut through the quiet morning like a siren. I had just backed the U-Haul into my driveway, dust still rising from the road when she appeared. Pink visor, phone in hand, that fake smile stretching too tight. I stared at her, half confused, half amused. "Ma'am, I bought this house last week. Here's the paperwork." I held it out, but she didn't even glance at it. Instead, she pointed at a laminated badge hanging from her neck that clearly said, HOA Supervisor. "That's not valid until I say it's valid," she snapped. "You'll need to stop unloading or I'll have to file a violation." I almost laughed. "File whatever you want," I said quietly. "I'm moving in." Her face changed like she wasn't used to anyone saying no. She took a step closer, looked over my shoulder at the boxes labeled with my daughter's name and smirked. "Then I guess your little family's starting off with a $500 fine." I felt a cold spark rise in my chest, but I stayed calm. "You can't fine me for existing, lady." "Oh, I can," she hissed. "You'll learn how things work around here." She lifted her phone, snapped a picture of my license plate, and walked off, muttering something about people like me. The funny part? I hadn't told anyone yet what I used to do before moving here. Let's just say, I wasn't the kind of person you could bully with fake authority. As she disappeared down the street, I smiled under my breath. She had no idea who she was messing with, and by the time she found out, it would already be too late. HOA Karen told me I couldn't move in without her say, didn't realize it's harassment, got arrested. By evening, she was back, this time with two men in uniforms that didn't quite look official. Their shirts had shiny badges, but the logos were crooked, like they'd been printed on at home. She stood between them with her arms crossed, that same smug grin on her face. "I told you we'd be back," she said loudly, making sure the neighbors heard. "You're trespassing on HOA property, and these officers will remove you if you don't comply." I kept my voice steady. "Ma'am, this is my property. I paid cash for it. You're the one trespassing." One of the officers stepped forward, his hand resting awkwardly near a holster that clearly held no real weapon. "Sir, she says you don't have permission to reside here yet. You'll need to come with us to the HOA office." I almost laughed again, but instead I pulled out my phone and started recording. "What's your badge number?" I asked calmly. Karen's face twitched. "You can't record HOA enforcement." She shouted. I didn't stop. "Funny," I said, "because last time I checked, impersonating an officer is a felony." The shorter guy froze. "What?" I took a slow step forward, eyes locked on Karen. "You see, I worked with county law enforcement for 15 years. I know a fake badge when I see one." For the first time, she didn't have a comeback. Her lips pressed together, her face drained of color. You're lying," she stammered. "Then call the real police," I said. "Let's clear this up right now." Her phone trembled in her hand. She looked at the two men, but neither of them moved. The whole street was watching now, neighbors peeking from porches, recording too. She turned around slowly, muttering something under her breath as she stormed off. The fake cops followed like scared kids. I thought it was over, but an hour later, blue lights flashed in front of my house. This time the real police had arrived, and Karen was standing proudly beside them, waving her clipboard like a trophy. She was about to learn the difference between control and consequences. She called the real cops on me. Without realizing, I used to train half of them. The real officer stepped out of the cruiser, a tall man with a steady posture and calm eyes. I recognized him instantly, Deputy Harris. We'd worked together years ago during a community security program I helped train. Karen, of course, had no idea. She strutted forward, waving her clipboard like it meant something. "Officer, arrest him," she shouted, pointing at me as if she'd just caught a fugitive. "He broke HOA rules, refused inspection, and threatened me with violence." I blinked, stunned at how easily she twisted reality. Harris turned to her slowly. "Threatened you?" he asked. "Yes," he yelled, got in my face, and said he'd deal with me if I didn't leave. Her fake tears were almost impressive. I was terrified. I didn't say a word. I just pulled my phone from my pocket and tapped play. The recording from earlier filled the air, the part where she'd tried to use fake cops and threatened fines. Harris's expression didn't change much, but I saw his jaw tighten. Karen's face went pale. "Wait, that's edited." "He's lying." Harris turned toward her, voice steady. "Ma'am, where did those officers come from?" She froze. HOA security. There's no HOA security in this area, he said flatly. Those men are already being detained for impersonating law enforcement. Her mouth opened, then shut again. I just leaned on the truck watching her crumble. Ma'am, Harris said, you've made multiple false reports tonight. That's harassment. Karen tried to speak, but words failed her. Her authority, her confidence, it all drained out like air from a leaking balloon. I crossed my arms. I told you before, you don't get to make the rules here. The neighbors had come out now, whispering, recording. One old man clapped quietly from his porch. Harris finally looked back at me. You good, Jake? Yeah, I said, nodding. Just moving in. He smiled faintly. Welcome home. Karen, trembling, muttered, This isn't over, before backing away toward her car. She didn't know it yet, but she was right. It wasn't over. She'd already filed something with the HOA earlier that day, and the next morning I found out what she'd done. She tried to get me arrested, ended up exposing her own crime on camera. The next morning, a bright orange notice was taped across my front door. Immediate eviction, unauthorized occupant. It had the HOA's logo printed at the top, but something about it felt off. The font, the signature, even the paper looked cheap. I peeled it off slowly, my stomach tightening. She had really done it, tried to fake an official eviction. I checked the name at the bottom, Karen M., HOA Director. Except there was no director by that name listed anywhere in the homeowner packet. She'd made her own title. As I stood there reading, my daughter ran up holding her backpack. Dad, some lady took pictures of me at the bus stop. My hands clenched. What? She said she was checking for unregistered residents. My little girl's voice cracked a bit and I felt a cold anger settle in my chest. That was it. Enough was enough. I went inside, opened my laptop, and pulled up every document from my purchase. The deed, inspection approvals, and a small but crucial file most people ignored, a surveillance notice. The entire street was under monitored city security, thanks to a community partnership I'd helped design years ago. Every mailbox, every lamppost, had cameras, and they caught everything. I spent the next few hours gathering clips. There she was, slapping fake eviction stickers on doors, yelling at the mailman, even taking pictures of kids waiting for the bus. I compiled everything, time-stamped it, and sent the files directly to the HOA board, real one this time, and to the county attorney's office. By noon, my phone buzzed. A simple message from a board member read, "We had no idea. Please stay calm. She's not part of our HOA, so she wasn't just abusing power, she never even had it." Later that evening, as the sun dipped low, I saw her walking her little dog down the street, pretending like nothing had happened. She even waved at me. That same fake smile. I waved back and said quietly, "Enjoy your evening, Director." She froze. The look on her face told me she knew something was coming. She forged an eviction notice, not realizing the whole neighborhood was watching her do it on camera. That night I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house reminded me that someone had tried to take it from me before I'd even unpacked. Around midnight, headlights flashed across the window. I peeked through the blinds and saw her again. Karen stood in my driveway holding her phone up like she was filming something. I stepped outside quietly, phone in hand, recording this time from the start. "Can I help you?" I asked. She flinched but didn't stop. "I'm documenting violations," she said in that same self-important tone. "You left your trash bins out past 10 p.m. That's against HOA rules." I looked at the bins still on the curb because trash pickup had just ended. "Karen, it's Friday night," I said calmly, "and there is no rule like that." She took a step closer, her voice shaking now. "I'll get you fined. You think you're smarter than me, but everyone here follows my rules." "Your rules?" I said slowly. "You mean the fake HOA you created?" She froze again. "What are you talking about?" "I sent your paperwork to the county office. They confirmed your HOA doesn't exist anymore. It was dissolved 2 years ago." For the first time, she didn't have a word to say. The light from her phone caught her face. It was trembling. Then, out of nowhere, she snapped. "You think you can ruin me?" she yelled, stepping forward. "I built this neighborhood. I make it safe. Safe?" I said, still recording. "By stalking people and scaring their kids?" She swung her phone toward me like she wanted to knock mine away. It didn't touch me, but it was enough. My security light turned on, bright and blinding. and the camera over the garage blinked red. Her eyes darted toward it. You're filming me?" "Always have been," I said. She spun around and stormed off toward her car, mumbling, "You'll regret this." But this time I didn't just watch her leave. I called Deputy Harris, sent him the new footage, and waited. He told me to sit tight, and within 30 minutes, blue lights painted the street again. She came to film fake violations. Didn't realize every second was being recorded for evidence. The sirens cut through the night like a warning bell. Karen froze halfway to her car, eyes wide as the police cruiser rolled up behind her. This time there were two officers, Harris and a younger deputy I didn't recognize. Both stepped out calmly, flashlights pointed down. Harris spoke first. "Evening, ma'am. We got another call about trespassing and harassment." Karen tried to laugh it off. "Oh, please, this is a misunderstanding. He's violating HOA protocol and I was simply documenting." Harris cut her off. "Ma'am, the HOA here was officially dissolved in 2023. You have no authority to enforce anything." Her face went blank, then twisted into something desperate. "That's not true. I run the new HOA, everyone knows that." The younger deputy handed Harris a tablet. "We checked the county records," he said quietly. "She's been sending out fake fines and notices for months." The silence that followed was heavy. You could hear the cicadas in the trees, the hum of the cruiser's engine, even the rustle of leaves in the night air. Harris stepped closer. "Ma'am, I'm placing you under arrest for harassment, trespassing, and impersonating an official body." Her voice cracked. "No, you don't understand. He provoked me. He tricked me." Harris didn't flinch. "You tricked yourself." I just stood there, arms crossed, watching as they cuffed her. She tried one last look at me, eyes burning. "You won't last here," she spat. "People like you never do." I almost said something, but I didn't need to. The truth was written all over her situation. As they guided her toward the car, a few porch lights flicked on down the street. Neighbors who'd been hiding all week finally stepped outside. Some nodded at me. One woman whispered, "About time." Karen's voice echoed one last time as the door shut behind her. "This isn't over." But deep down, I knew it was. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that she hadn't acted alone. And the next morning, when I checked my mail, that suspicion turned into something much bigger. She called the cops again. This time, they arrested her. The next morning, the world felt lighter until I opened the mailbox. Inside was another envelope, same fake HOA logo, same red-stamped violation notice. But this one wasn't signed by Karen. It was signed by someone named Gregory H., acting director. I frowned. Either Karen had followers, or someone else was trying to cover for her. I took the envelope inside, opened it carefully, and there it was, another demand. Immediate payment of around $200 for non-compliance with HOA ordinances. Except this time, the return address wasn't even local. It was a P.O. box from another state. I grabbed my coffee, sat down, and called Harris again. He picked up instantly. "I was expecting that," he said. She wasn't working alone. We found a small network running fake HOA scams across 3 counties. So that was it. Karen wasn't just a nosy neighbor. She was part of something bigger, using fake authority to squeeze money out of new homeowners. "Can you forward that letter to us?" he asked. "Already did," I said, scanning it. "But I think I can help a little more." He paused. "You planning something?" I smiled faintly. "Let's call it exposure." That evening, I set up my camera on the porch again and filmed a short clip, just me holding the new fake notice. They told me I couldn't live in my own house without their say. I said into the camera, "Turns out it's a scam. If you've gotten one of these, call your local sheriff. Don't pay a dime." I posted it online. Within hours, comments flooded in. People from nearby towns said they'd gotten the same letters. Some even shared photos of Karen at their doors. The story spread fast, too fast for anyone to stop it. By nightfall, local news picked it up. Fake HOA ring busted after homeowner exposes harassment scheme. I stood on my porch, phone buzzing nonstop, watching neighbors come over just to say thanks. For the first time, the street didn't feel hostile. It felt alive. But even with Karen behind bars and her partners under investigation, I couldn't shake one question. Why me? Out of everyone on this block, why had she chosen my house to start with? The answer came 2 days later in a letter I wasn't expecting at all. I thought she was gone. But the truth about why she targeted me changed everything. The envelope was plain white, no stamp, no return address. Just my name scrawled in shaky handwriting. I turned it over twice before opening it. Inside was a single folded sheet of paper and an old photo. The paper read, "You were never supposed to move here. She knew who you were." My pulse quickened as I looked at the photo. It was me 15 years ago in uniform, standing beside a group of officers, and one of them was Karen's husband. He'd been part of a corruption case I'd helped expose back when I worked internal affairs. He lost his badge, his pension, everything. I hadn't thought about it in years, and now it all made sense. Karen hadn't just picked a random neighbor. She'd known exactly who I was. Her harassment wasn't about HOA rules, it was revenge. I sat on the porch for a long time staring at that photo. The wind rustled through the trees, carrying the faint hum of the quiet neighborhood that had nearly become my nightmare. Later that week, Harris stopped by. "You saw the news?" he asked. "They found more people connected to her husband's old crew." "You started something big," I nodded. "I didn't want any of this. I just wanted to move in." He smiled slightly. "Sometimes justice shows up in strange ways." As he left, I looked around at the street, the same one she'd tried to control. Now kids were playing, neighbors were talking, laughter echoed between the houses. No clipboards, no threats. Just life. I went inside, hung the old photo on my wall, not as a reminder of revenge, but of closure. Before turning off the lights, I glanced out at the quiet night and whispered, "This is my land now. My home." And for the first time since moving in, I finally believed it. She tried to destroy me for exposing her past, ended up exposing her own. Justice doesn't need permission.